What was slated to be one of the major construction projects this summer in Detroit Lakes is a no-go and has been put off presumably until next year, depending on how the bidding comes down. I'm talking about the Washington Avenue reconstruction project. This would have been the 2 blocks of Washington Avenue from Highway 10 south down to about Norby's there in Detroit Lakes. 2 blocks was scheduled to be tore up and redone, very similar to the way the north end of town is, with concrete roads as well as the red concrete, some trees, etc. like that, and landscaping. It's part of a redevelopment concept the city's been pushing for a number of years. So why is it waiting till next year? Well, the prices came in too high. As many people might remember, last month the project was bid out and it came in about $1 million over the estimates, which gave sticker shock to both members of the Becker County Board of Commissioners and the Detroit Lakes City Council, because it is a joint road, a county road that runs through the city. Both government entities are paying for the project together. The first bid, low bid I should say, came in at $2.7 million. The second bid came in at $1.963 million. Again, both were rejected. Now, you might say, well, Jake, that's low. It's about $800,000 less. Well, when you consider the fact that the city of Detroit Lakes cut about $1 million from the project in order to try to get a lower bid, only having about $800,000 less actually means the price of this project went up as far as what it's going to cost the taxpayers of Detroit Lakes and Becker County. Most of the stuff that was eliminated were what you might want to call the extras. Things that were not going to be assessed to property owners in the first place. That's why you didn't really see a change to them. In fact, the assessments for Becker County property owners on this project would have gone up 10%. That's 10% more than the high estimate, which was 30% higher than the original estimate from last month. So in other words, 40% or higher than the original estimates that were put out. Now, the county's share went up personally as well. They were the first ones last week to actually vote this project down unanimously, which pretty much handcuffed the city. They were looking at a $1.53 million investment. They went up to $1.64 million and said they could not justify the extra expense. So what's next? Well, we're going to look to next year. There were some issues that popped up that were discussed during the bidding process that many people felt probably contributed to the high bids. The scheduling restrictions that we put on the contractors, basically saying we don't want you working here between the 4th of July and WeFest, the prime time for construction to get done, and really one of the few times that you can be guaranteed nice weather and working weather. Unfortunately, it's also the heart of our tourist season here in the Lakes area, which means you've got two forces they're pushing against each other. One's going to have to give at some point. And also, starting too early in the spring might mean it gets pushed back because, heck, we know sometimes we don't really get spring. Sometimes it just goes from winter to summer. But they're going to bid it out this winter instead of later in the year like they did, or maybe even this fall they'll bid it out. Bidding early, I'm told, is going to be a key to getting lower bids, although some people thought by rebidding it, they could get lower bids. Obviously, those people were vastly mistaken. But why are we doing this in the first place, this whole reconstruction? This all goes back to about 5-6 years ago when the city of Detroit Lakes had this RDG group come in and do this downtown development study. And there were certain aspects of that study they liked. Redoing Washington Avenue was one of them. That's why they are bound and determined to redo this, because they want to make what they call a quaint, unique place in order to shop and visit, and they feel without that they're going to be at an economic disadvantage. But there is still one thing unfinished. These basement nuisances that are going to have to be dealt with. 4 businesses on these 2 blocks that have basements that go underneath the sidewalk. They're being told they have to fill them in at their expense. And with this whole project and the price going up, some businesses have said they could have to spend $30,000 to $40,000 on their assessments and on getting that abatement done. I don't know if this project's going to equal $30,000, $40,000 more in value for the company, whether in its overall value as a business or in the overall sales that it's going to be able to determine. And I think these high prices for this way different looking downtown area is beginning to have some sticker shock on people here in Detroit Lakes. But like I've said, the north end's already done. The south end's going to have to go along with it. It's just really disappointing that the price is so much higher than originally thought, because now it's almost you're danged if you do, if you're danged if you don't, because nobody was expecting to have to spend this much for the redevelopment project.